You have to just be silent. You have to just be quiet. You can't call anyone out, unless you're a pundit, unless you are a pundit that is paid to do it or anything like that. You're not allowed to call anyone out. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Diamond Radio. And I'm coming to you, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it is very sunny where you are. There is a bit of a sun breeze or whatever it is coming from my window. I am telling you, it was pouring with rain earlier. It's only just happened. So if there is a bit of a glare, I apologize. But we have to do a show today as, my God, there are some big situation that has happened right now in the world of football and the world of the Premier League. The English Premier League. I had to do it. And if anyone's not aware, Cristiano Ronaldo, who I'm sure every single person is going to know who that is anyway. I mean, one of the biggest names in sports, one of the biggest names in football ever, or soccer, as Americans like to say as well, has gone on to Piers Morgan's talk show, and he has done a tell-all, basically an interview of his club at the moment, his situation of what's going on, because at the moment in his situation he had a lot of problems at Manchester United anyway, a lot of problems with the manager, a lot of problems with game time, a lot of problems with pre-season and all that jazz. So he's gone on there and he's done a full-blown interview, basically, going in, being honest, going in on his club, his situation, him. And a lot of people have had a lot to say about it. I mean, Twitter's gone into meltdown, as it does for anything. That's gone into meltdown. TalkSport's gone into meltdown. And everyone's gone crazy about Ronaldo and had their say. And as always, I feel like it's good to have your say. It's good to hear different sides of the coin, if you will, and give your take. And for me, in my life, the two biggest sports that I absolutely love and adore, that I've taken part in at different levels, is football and wrestling. So I love both. So I'm very, very passionate about both. I watch both a lot religiously, if you will. And, I've got to give my say on it. And for me personally, I've got to be completely honest, I feel for the man. I do, and I feel for Ronaldo, and, I think there's obviously things that could have been done better and things that people obviously say that, he's done is wrong. But, I'm with the guy. The problem we're at the moment in this world, in this life, is, you have to just be silent. You have to just be quiet. You can't call anyone out, unless you're a pundit. Unless you are a pundit that is paid to do it or anything like that, you're not allowed to call anyone out. You're not allowed to give your say. You're not allowed to be honest, and you're not allowed to say anything that might upset people. And I don't mean upset people in be offensive way. I just mean coming out and telling your side, telling your story, because Ronaldo's done this whole interview and everyone has gone mad and gone, they're your employer, you shouldn't be saying anything, you should be just, get in line and do your thing. And I'm like, why should you do that? Why should you do that? Right now, just a bit of context, essentially, Ronaldo missed pre-season. Well, actually, let's go back even further, right? So last year, Ronaldo went back to United. This man is 37 years old. He was the third top goal scorer in the Premier League. The only two people ahead of him, as far as I'm aware, was the two Golden Boot winners with 29 each, I think it was. It was either 27 or 29 each. You can quote me on that. Ronaldo scored, I think it was 24 goals in all competitions last year at the age of 37 in the best league in the entire world, right? That's a fact. That is a fact. With a manager that came in, by the way, that had no real experience, no real pedigree, and that man, Ronaldo, scored that many goals. Now, also bearing in mind, in case anyone isn't aware, this man is also got the most professional goals in recorded history. That's not even a joke. He broke the record for the most goals in professional recorded history. Now, I'm sorry, that is a ridiculous stat and a ridiculous thing. To be the best goal scorer in history and to score the most goals of any person ever in the game is unreal and disgusting. So, He then does that. Then a new manager comes in for the new season. Ten Hag comes in, right? Ronaldo misses pre-season, and his event of what Ronaldo has said is his daughter was ill. Now, anyone that has a child, I don't have a child, but anyone that has a child will obviously understand when your child is sick and your child is ill, you do everything to make sure your child is okay. And bearing in mind as well, I think it's common knowledge as well that Ronaldo had a very, very tragic incident where he lost his son. Him and his wife lost his son. They were having a child, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his wife had a miscarriage, if I'm not mistaken. Now, anyone that's got no one on the planet can tell anyone how you deal with that. No one can tell anyone what that does to your psyche, what that does to your mentality, or anything like that. No one can tell you how to handle that. No one can. So he's just had that happen. He then has his daughter that becomes ill as well. That man is going to be next level. Like, I've got to make sure it's okay. I've already gone through this tragedy. I want to make sure it's okay. So if he's then told his club, and apparently according to his interview as well, Ronaldo said that the club didn't really believe him. Now, I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. For the club, I mean. I'm not saying Ronaldo's lying. I'm saying the club is ridiculous for that. If you go to your... The thing is, right, what we have to always understand is everyone is always on this bandwagon of you're employed by someone, you're getting paid. You should just do what you're told and get on with it. Yeah, okay. But let's also look at this from a human perspective as well. We're all humans at the end of the day. We all have emotions. We all have things we've got to go through, right? If you go to your employer and say, my child is ill, there is only one answer your employer should be giving. Take as much time as you need. I'm sorry, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It shouldn't be, but this and that, or are you sure you can't, fuck off. No, the only answer your employer should ever be given is, do your thing, take as long as you need. Keep us updated, please, so we can do things accordingly. Keep us updated. That's the only thing they should be doing. The fact that Ronaldo felt like the club didn't really believe him, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The service that man has given to that club, regardless of service either, if you're working for someone, you have an employer, they should be understanding as a human level. Because I'm sorry, even if you have kids or you don't or whatever, it's important. It's important. Health is massive, and especially your child's health is very important. So there was that as well. There was that caused friction and problems. They then brought in a manager of Ten Hag that clearly didn't fancy him, just didn't want him, just didn't want to use him. Now, I understand, again, I'm going to keep saying this because a lot of people said this. Now, I understand people go, it's your employers, they have the right to play you or not play you as much as they want. And yeah, on paper, you're absolutely right, they're allowed to do that. However, when you've got someone like Ronaldo, who is the highest goal scorer in history, a man that scored 24 goals in all competitions last season, to not be played and to be told, I'm not playing you, you're a bit part player, I can understand a grievance. I can understand being annoyed. What more can that man do? Generally, what more could that man do? And the thing that annoys me as well, this thing that really, really bugs me, is everyone keeps mentioning his age. Everyone keeps going, well, he's 37. He's not what he used to be anymore. Who cares? Who cares? That man is still scoring. Who cares? He's scored 24 goals in all competitions last season. Only 2 people in the whole Premier League scored more than that man. Only 2. Who cares that he's 37? And also, I'd argue as well, Ronaldo is probably in the top 3 strikers in the Premier League. There's probably only... Harry Kane is probably better. Maybe. I don't really rate Harry Kane that much, but let's just say in the grand scheme of everything, yes. Who else have you got that's better than Ronaldo? Genuinely, what other striker is better than Ronaldo? Haaland? Okay, Haaland is better. Yes, Haaland is amazing. Who else have you got? I love Ivan Toney, but he's not better than Ronaldo. Who else have you got that's really better than Ronaldo as a striker? No one. Ronaldo is unreal. So regardless of age and regardless of all this, I think it's a rubbish excuse to just use someone's age. I think Ronaldo's being used as a scapegoat. I really do. I think he's being used as a scapegoat for the club, for the club's issues. I think he's on a high wage. He's a big name, a big star, big ego, as he should be, because he's unreal. And I believe him when I say I think the club has given him promises and not fulfilled that. And look, I've been at football clubs where managers have lied. I've been at football clubs where managers have gone back on what they've said. I've been at football clubs where managers have their favourites, and I get it. It's life. I understand that it's life. People will have their favourites no matter what happens, and I get it. He's a manager. He can do whatever he wants. But that doesn't mean that you should just have to sit there in silence and be okay with it. And I know people say you're under contract, you've got to just do what you got to do. Yeah, true. But if I'm working at something like Tesco's and I'm being treated like rubbish and I'm not happy, I can leave. I can get up, leave, go home, not go back. I can do that. If I'm playing at a football club, Saturday, Sunday league, anything like that, I can go home and not go back. Whereas Ronaldo, in the way that football works at a professional level, is you're out of contract, you can't leave. You're not allowed to leave. Now, someone that's unhappy, disgruntled in the workplace or where they're working, and to be almost shackled there and told you can't leave, you can't go, you've got to stay there, you've got to do it, He's asked to leave. He asked to leave and said, look, let me go. They won't let him go. What does a man do? What does a man do? And also at the same time as well, I'm very much in the belief of you should be allowed to defend yourself. I think we live in a world now where you can't defend yourself anymore. So many people say stuff, social media, TV, anything like that, and people can't ever defend themselves. Ronaldo's had every single pundit and their dog say something about him. Say that he's the problem for Man U. He doesn't work hard enough. His age, he's not what he used to be anymore. He's not a star anymore. It's all rubbish. It's all excuses. If you're telling me that Ronaldo not working hard enough is the reason for Man U's failures, then again, you're just a scapegoat. Simple as that. Rashford doesn't work hard enough off the ball. No chance. Bruno Fernandes doesn't work hard off the ball at all. That's already two players. Why are they not getting slack? Why is it just Ronaldo? And also as well, Ronaldo's a striker. Now, I get it. You defend from the front foot. I get that. I totally get that. But at the same time, Ronaldo's not going to be sprinting all the way back to defend. It's not what he does. You shouldn't expect him to do all the work. He's a striker at the end of the day. And if you're blaming Ronaldo and saying Ronaldo's the one that doesn't work hard, there are plenty of people in that squad that don't work hard enough. And that goes all around. There are lazy strikers out there. They're called lazy strikers. I'm a West Ham fan. West Ham have got Skamaka, who's ridiculously lazy off the ball, but he's got some talent, a bit of flair, can create something out of nothing, and that's why we play him. You can't. You've all got different strikers out there. For example, West Ham have got Antonio, works his bollocks off up and down. That's just who he is as a player. Not every player's like that. Also, as well, and this is the only time I will use his age, he is 37. He's not going to be sprinting up and down consistently. It's just not going to happen. And it's unrealistic to think that of him. So I think Ronaldo is being used as a scapegoat. And I think he is an easy target, which is really weird to say because he's such a big name. He's such a star. He's such an ego. He's such a personality. It's weird that he is being used as a scapegoat. But he is being used as a scapegoat. And I think it is very hard. If you're a normal player and a manager doesn't fancy you and doesn't use you, you can be disgruntled, you can moan, of course you can, but sometimes you haven't really got a leg to stand on. It's just the way it is. Ronaldo's a different story because he has got a leg to stand on. He's the biggest goal scorer in history. He scored 24 goals last season. You've got to play this man, and if it is about age, why'd you sign him? Why did you bring him into the club? If it's about age, why did you bring him to the club? And for example, one of Ronaldo's issues was that there was a Man City game, and Man U were losing, and Ten Hag said to Ronaldo, there was a couple minutes left to go, and he said, I'm not going to bring you on out of respect for you. Yet, a week or two after that, Man United are playing Tottenham. He then says to Ronaldo, okay, there's 2-3 minutes left to go, I want to bring you on. And then because Ronaldo says, no, I'm not coming on, Ronaldo gets then all the flack, gets all the abuse from everyone, when hold on, Ten Hag has just completely contradicted himself, completely gone back on what he said, and has literally made himself look like an idiot. Yes, Ronaldo shouldn't have refused, and yes, Ronaldo shouldn't have stormed back into the change room, but you know what? We're humans at the end of the day. Humans have emotion. Humans care. If you had a player for your club that didn't give a crap, you'd be annoyed about it, wouldn't you? You want passion. You want someone that cares. And if someone didn't care, you'd be like, oh, he doesn't care. Get him out of the club. But yet, if someone cares too much, they're then punished as well. It's weird. You've got to have this robotic blend of you've got to care, but you can't care too much, and you can't express your opinion, or you can't go against the mould. Otherwise, you're a bad guy. And it's ridiculous. We've got to look at it from a human aspect. This man is a winner. This man cares. This man Has an ego, absolutely, but there's nothing wrong with that. If you're as good as he is, you will have an ego. You know, he's never going to turn around and go, I'm not a good player. He's a good player. He's a damn good player. And I think, you know, the fact that he's just getting all this abuse, I think he's getting all, you know, being used as a scapegoat, I do feel for him. I do feel for him. I'm not saying he's perfectly in the right. I'm never saying that at all. And I think there is stuff that he has done wrong. And I think he would even admit himself. He's a very clever guy. I think he's a mature guy. I think he'll admit himself that he probably shouldn't have walked out of the Tottenham game. I think he'll admit that, you know, a couple of other things he should have done. But you know what? When you've got a club that doesn't believe in you, doesn't trust you, you start to lose faith, and, then they expect you to go out there and put your body on the line for a manager that, doesn't really rate you, doesn't really like you, for a president of the club that didn't believe you when you said your daughter was ill. You're getting lied to consistently, told different stories all the time. I can understand someone getting disgruntled, and I can understand someone getting annoyed, and that's my big thing. My problem is when people defend themselves, we have a go at them for doing that. It's almost like you just got to accept it and get back in line. It's just not how it works all the time in everyday life. It's not how it works. And, I understand you're under contract, but like I said, anywhere else in life, you can walk away. You can leave. You can go, do you know what? It's not for me anymore. Contract done. Don't pay me anymore. It's all good. And everyone just says, why doesn't Ronaldo just leave or ask to leave? He's asked to leave. He's asked to leave multiple times. They've said no. And people say it's about money. It's not about money. Ronaldo got offered to go to a Saudi Arabia club for like 300 million, I think it was. I think I heard that number. I could be wrong, but I know it was a Saudi Arabia club. He said no, because he wants to play in the Champions League. He wants to play for a more established team. If it was about money, he'd bugger off there, or he'd bugger off to Qatar, or he'd go to the MLS and get a shit ton of money. It's not about that for him. He wants to still play, and as long as he's still doing it, which he is, you can't say anything about it. Like I said, if he wasn't putting up the numbers, then he wouldn't really have a leg to stand on. He'd be like, okay, you've got to just, every time you get a chance, you've got to try and score and go from there. But when he is putting up the numbers, which he is doing, I can understand someone getting annoyed. If you're doing well at your job and people are getting promotions ahead of you, or people are getting bonuses ahead of you, you're going to be ridiculously annoyed. You're going to be stupidly annoyed. If you're succeeding and doing well at your job and doing what's asked of you and more, you're going to get annoyed. You've got Ronaldo putting up all these numbers, scoring at the age of 37 as well, doing really good. And you've got people like Rashford and Martial who aren't scoring as much, getting played over him, getting used over him. I would be annoyed. I would be frustrated. And, do I think he should have got on TV and done an interview? I don't really know. I go back and forth. I'm everyone's different and everyone has a different opinion and view. For me, sometimes I think there's only one way to go, and you've got to make a noise and you've got to make a statement, because if he just sits there and he's quiet, nothing's going to get sorted. Nothing's ever going to get solved or anything like that. Does he go in on the club? Yeah, he does, but he's probably annoyed. Probably cares about the club, cares about the fans, wants it to be better, Could people articulate it better? Maybe. But, if you actually look at what he said and stuff, he wants the club to be better. He wants the club to be the best. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with expecting the best and wanting the best. And there's nothing wrong with not accepting mediocre. And there's nothing wrong with saying, do you know what? I don't want this. I want better than this. And that's okay. But people get punished for wanting better. People get punished for calling out things that are wrong. But how is anything ever going to get better if you don't call it out? That's kind of my thing. And, I think we could go back and forth on whether he should have done the things he did or gone about it the right way. And people always say this all the time. They always say, he could have gone about it better. No one on the planet is always calm. This is something that always annoys me. No one on the planet is calm 100% of the time. People have times where they just get angry, they just explode a little bit. Not everyone is always looking at it from a cool, calm, collective head and gone, well, hold on, let me think about this ever so slightly. No, I think we should go about it this way. No, you get angry. You do things at the heat of the moment, but at the same time, maybe he wanted to go on an interview show. Maybe he wanted to give his side, because like I've said as well, and I've had this conversation about CM Punk, for example, in AEW, when you've got a multitude of people saying stuff about you, coming up with reasons, excuses, talking for you, essentially. Like, the club never turned around and said Ronaldo's daughter was ill. They just said he hasn't turned up to pre-season. That's it. That looks bad. That looks bad. And then he comes out, Ronaldo goes, actually, no, my daughter was ill. I was attending to my daughter who was ill. Then you turn around and go, oh, well, fuck me. I wouldn't go to training either. I wouldn't do it. And that's what I mean, you know. Why would the club not say that? And also, why would Ronaldo lie about that? Why would the club not just turn around and go, he's not here for pre-season. His daughter's ill. He's looking after his family. We respect that and we support that. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. The only reason they would lie and say he's just not turned up is because they want to make him look like the bad guy. And I just think it's ridiculous. And I think when you have everyone on social media, everyone on TalkSport, for example, everyone on, you know, every pundit on Sky Sports, you know, your former players and ex-pros coming out and saying all this stuff about you, judging you, I can totally understand why Ronaldo's turned around and gone, can I at least have my say? Can I at least tell you the actual truth of my say? I get it. There's two sides to every story. There's one side, the other side, and then the truth, right? There is that. But at the same time, a man is allowed to come out and say his side and go, actually, I will tell you the story. I will tell you exactly what happened on my half. And I think it's fair. But we ridicule him, or people ridicule him for doing that. Now, I understand you've got an employer, you're under contract, there's a certain way to do it. But sometimes you just get to the point where enough is enough. Like, what more can I do at this point? Enough is enough. And, you know, that's my opinion. And I'm not saying that, you know, Ronaldo's 100% right. Obviously, looking at it from an adult head, maybe he could have done things a different way. But I understand him. I feel for him, and I'm with him. I do think sometimes you have to have your say, and you got to defend yourself. And I always say, back yourself, defend yourself. And I don't blame him for doing it at all. Don't blame him. And I don't think he can go back to United. I don't think United will have him back now after this. I think it'll be two ships sailing, like, you know, goodbye. But, you know, I don't blame anyone for not wanting to just sit there and have to eat loads of shit. I don't blame anyone for doing that. So I'm with him. I'm with him. I really am. But, you know, it is a different view and opinion. So let me know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, right? I'm happy to have a chat about it. We can have a chat about it. Let me know your views. If you're a United fan or not, or just a casual fan, let me know what your views are. Let me know what you think. And we'll go from there, because I like to hear other people's opinion. But thank you for listening, guys. Really, really appreciate it. I had to come on, had to give my say, had to give a little, a different view on it, if you will. So I had to, it was in my mind, I had to do it. So I felt like, let's just get on there and have a little chat. But thank you guys for listening. I really, really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all very soon. Much love. Take it easy.